Hello, hello, Haley Jefferson. How are you, my love?
I'm great, Maddie Cock. How are you?
I am good. I'm very good, thank you.
Mhm.
Um, I thought we could do a bit of a countdown. I want to channel like 90s Friday night, top of the pops vibes, and do a bit of a recap because we're clocking in a good number of episodes now,
Mhm.
and I would love to tell you and tell our lovely listeners what the most popular ones are, and then kind of see from there what that tells us. Does that tell us anything about the industry, about us, about our lovely our coffee beans, as I'm gonna name them? That's our gang
Tell us what
name.
you think about that, folks.
Yeah.
So we're channeling like Christmas top 10 songs, best songs ever
Yes.
type vibes. Great,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
in.
do you know when you'd record the charts on a Sunday evening and try and press it just in
On the
time that they
tape.
don't get
I do. I
the
do
voice?
remember
We're just going
that.
to do a bit of that.
I bet there's people listening to this who don't remember that, Maddie.
Yes, some young whippersnappers, tiny babies. Does that sound good? And I'll do us a little
Great, let's do it.
a top five
All
countdown.
right, top
Okay.
five. So these are our top five most popular episodes.
Yes.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Out of like 60 odd. So I think we've got a good bit of data to look at. So
All right, let's hear it.
in at number five, we have dealing with difficult clients. This is a big one. I remember we got a lot of feedback about this. We had a lot of people responding
Yeah.
to our reels being like,
Yeah.
I'm dealing with this. Yeah.
Yes, I remember it well.
Yes. In at number four, we had this made me laugh. More money, more problems? Question mark. Which that was one of the early ones, and I think that was episode number 4. And that was talking about as you grow and as you become more successful and make more money, what happens as a result of that. So that was a biggie.
Yes.
In at number 3, one of our favourite topics, me and you.
Oh, this will
Is
be.
it?
Oh, yeah. What's our favourite topic? Let me think. Oh, it could be anything.
I'll give you a clue. Scented gel pens and hyperfocuses.
It's an
Number 3,
ADHD one.
yes, is it ADHD? Our personal diagnostic journeys, when we shared both of our diagnostic journeys, both
Yeah,
getting
that was one of the
diagnosed as adults.
first times we talked about ADHD, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, and that was literally episode number 2. So that was an oldie and a goodie. Number 2 is one of my personal favourite episodes. This is one that gets referred a lot in my group as a point of reference, which is very much your wheelhouse. You are not an unpaid therapist.
Oh, I will die on that hill, as you would
Yes.
say.
And every time now that I see someone do a reel who are like, we're an unpaid therapist, I'm like, girl, go and listen to episode 3.
You're not, for so many reasons. Yes.
So if anyone's listening to this, if you're a late joiner and you're thinking, oh, I've been telling everyone that I am an unpaid therapist and that's part of the pricing package. Go and listen to episode number 3. We've got you. And in at, I should do a dramatic Dermot O'Leary style pause, but in at number 1, and this isn't surprising because this was our first ever episode, was back in the day, should I close my books if I am fully booked? Now, I'd love to know what your
episode.
Oh, I know, when we were little podcast babies back 2 years ago, nearly 2 years.
I don't know. No, I don't think it's that long, but it's over a year.
About
It's probably
18
like
months or something,
a year and a half. I think it was a year in November. So
was it in November? I thought it was the summer.
So, off the top of my head.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, time flies when you're having a great time.
I might be wrong. It's coming up to 18 months, Maddie, I think.
Got you. And well, first, as a bit of a recap, what do as ADHD people, one of my things that I love to do is spot patterns and go, I'm noticing things.
Yes.
What does your brain notice when I give you the rundown of those top 5? What do you think that says about the industry?
What is this telling us about the industry? Well, I mean, I'm not surprised that ADHD is on there. Because whenever we mention ADHD on our social media or anything, it always gets a big response. And so, I think our industry is really catching on that this is becoming a big topic for hairdressers. You know, I mean, I've had inquiries from brands asking me, what do I know? what could I teach them? What might I be able to speak on around ADHD? And so I think that's really interesting. I think that's really interesting.
And I think, just as a shameless plug, Hayley has an ADHD course, and Hayley does loads of fabulous work in industry with brands and with salons, with people, with individuals about ADHD. And
anyone wants to talk to me.
Yeah, you're like, I'm out here banging this drum.
Yeah.
But
what does our top 5 tell you about the industry?
So the ones that I find quite interesting is that 2 of them are about people who are very busy, or who are sort of quote unquote successful, especially income wise. So should I close my books if I'm fully booked, and more money, more problems?
Yeah.
And this is a hill that I'll die on, is that while I absolutely appreciate and validate and confirm that it is hard for a lot of people, and some people are quieter than they've ever been, that's a very public problem that people feel okay sharing in public and then echoing and having conversations about. But this really, really confirms for me that there are still a lot of people who are busier than they've ever been. And, you consume a podcast very privately. So it's interesting that that's like a bit of a private problem, that you think, oh, I am much busier than I thought I would be, or I am making this money. How do I, what are my next steps? So
I think that's really interesting, just people-wise, Maddie, that people will find it easier to talk about what's not going well, whereas people don't want to walk around going, guess what's going well for me?
I'm too busy.
It's like people are more likely to complain about their boyfriend than tell you how wonderful they are. This is just humans. And so it's interesting to see what the numbers say. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, because it's a private thing, isn't it? Like you can just listen to us, we're hanging out with you at the gym, in your cars, on your way to work and stuff like that. So that is interesting to me, because I'm having a lot of private conversations like that. So it makes sense to hear those. And I think I think as well, what's interesting is that it's a bit of an even split between me and you. Do you notice
what
that
we
too?
teach. Yeah. Your money, I'm feelings.
Yeah. The money and the feelings, I love that. I'm Scrooge McDuck.
The money and the feelings, or your strategy, your very strategy, you might think about me as mindset. That's one way you could think about it, I suppose. Yep. Yeah. For sure. I just think that I think what's really interesting is, like we say, your money, I'm feelings, your strategy, I'm mindset, is that you can't have one without the other.
Just like us in as people, Hayley, me and you.
You can't have one without the other.
We're a double act.
But it is, and I like it. You always say you can't price your way out of bad boundaries. I love it when you say that. And a limiting mindset. And it's like, but I also, you can't. A good mindset won't solve all your problems either. It's all this. I'm like, I don't like this. I don't know, if you believe it and you write it down, it will happen. It's not enough. A good mindset is not enough if your pricing's wrong and your policies are non-existent. And so, definitely. It's like you were saying, your calculator is fantastic, isn't it? But you've also got to think about why you're struggling with your pricing. It is a two-sided problem. That's our point. It's a two-sided problem.
Well, let's go into some of the bigger topics then that we talk about, that we've talked about in the podcast, that we talk about with our students, with our clients. And I think pricing is a really good one to start with. So what are your thoughts from the Haleyism, the Haley side of things?
I think that putting your prices up is an emotional topic. I think we can think about it as numbers and all of that stuff and business, but actually I think it's an emotional problem, because I think everybody knows they need to charge properly, and a lot of people know they need to put their prices up, but I think there's feelings that are stopping people, or are getting in the way, or are making people feel nervous about it. And so I think a lot of it is a big feelings problem, or a mindset issue, you might say, but I think it's feelings.
100%. And I like, when I brought the calculator out back in 2020, within a matter of days, I was like, oh, okay, there's the calculator is the thing that comes once a person is like ready to raise their prices. And before that, There is all this other stuff that we have to address. And that's why I started doing the my free pricing masterclass, which still to this day runs, because before I get a person to even open the calculator and be like, okay, my next step is to even not even raise the prices, but just to look at their numbers, because a lot of the time it's the first time they've ever looked at like the maths of it, is actually getting them to believe they deserve to raise their prices and that they won't die as a result, you know, and their clients won't all leave. And I know you do heaps of work around that too.
Yeah. But it's exactly, that's what I was saying, Maddie, isn't it? It's like we need the information. We need to know how to do it, but you've also got to believe that you can.
Yeah, definitely.
And that you're allowed.
Yeah, you know, it's like the permission, giving yourself permission.
Permission giving. I'm all about that.
Yes. Other big juicy topic, which we've touched on, which is obviously really common in this, ADHD.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Lots of feelings around ADHD. I mean, well documented that we both have ADHD, both diagnosed. How I feel about ADHD is there's a real focus on productivity around ADHD. Like we see this a lot. And I think that people are missing a trick when we think about that, and they're always just like, how can I be more productive? How can I be more productive? I think I teach about ADHD, you know, and one of the things that I know is if you're not taking care of yourself properly, there is no productivity tip in the world that will work.
Yeah.
There's this foundation work that you've got to understand ADHD in a bigger picture before you can start managing the strategies and the tips and all that sort of stuff. You've got to take care of your energy and all of that sort of stuff first. And there's a lot of big feelings again that come with ADHD, and you've got to sort of get all that bit in check before you start concerning yourself with like productivity. I think it's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it matters, you know, I love it when I'm productive, but, and so again, I think there's the strategy side, and then there's the emotional side to ADHD. And again, that's why that's a great topic for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think my biggest takeaway, not just from that episode with you, but just every time we've ever had a conversation really about this, is when you just hammer home, like it's an energy issue. Like it fundamentally is.
That's how I think of, that's how I understand mine.
Yeah, like I don't see it as like a capability or lack of, like at all. In fact, I think people with ADHD are wildly capable of actually tons of different things.
Out of the box thinking, genius.
Super creative, and really, really smart actually. And think of it as energy. And then, you know, it's changed how I view time management, how I view productivity is through this lens of ADHD and the energy that because roller coaster that puts you on.
Well, that's it, because the energy is either there or it's not. And when you can learn to control whether it's there or it's not, well, things are easier. Whereas if you're at the mercy of whether it is or not, and you don't know if it's going to be there the day that you need it, life's going to be harder. And so, I understand it as an energy management problem.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like time, even just time through the lens of ADHD, and not seeing time as equal, but time as energy is like, that was very big.
Yeah, what do I say? I manage my energy, not my time.
Yes. And now when I look at my calendar, I have a little Haley on my shoulder being like, that is 30 minutes, but is it truly 30 minutes? And what energy will I have after that?
Because I just think that there are 30-minute jobs that take me a day's energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they just do, you know, and so don't put too many of them in a day.
Yeah, no, that's good. I love it. Very, very helpful. So yes, if you are diagnosed, or if you are curious or think, you know, that you have some traits, or you just want to, or even this is interested you thinking about the energy side, episode number 2, go and have a listen to that about ADHD. Another biggie that comes up, and again, this comes up for both of us, and we both have our ways of teaching around it, is policies.
What do you think about this? This is and
I think you know, you teach about boundaries, I'll teach about boundaries through a lens of policies. And it's one thing, I always say there's like these different stages. Like, it's one, you have to have a policy actually written, right? You can't just enforce a policy that you've made up in your head because it's quote unquote fair or right or whatever. And then there's another thing, communicating that effectively to your clients so they understand at the point of sale.
A lot. Well, that's where I notice people are falling down quite a lot. It's the communicating of them.
So I think everyone falls at different hurdles. Some literally don't have any whatsoever, and they're like, yeah, but it's unfair. And I'm like, well, to you, and they have to be communicated. So there's the like having them, communicating them, and then the really, really important thing is actually enforcing in the moment. And yes, by doing step 1 and 2, having them and communicating them, which is the strategic kind of, you can have scripts and templates and whatever. But in the enforcing, much like doing the price increase, that's when you have a lot of the feelings and this person's going to hate me,
they'll think I'm mean.
Yeah, poor Sandra's husband's just lost his job, and so-and-so's not well, and this person's been a client of mine for 20 years, and all of the mindset stuff kind of comes up as well. So it's you've got the 3 strategic stages, but then a lot of the maybe inner work that comes around them. Yeah,
it is. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. Well, I think another one of our really big topics that's come up there is like the unpaid therapist, the difficult clients. Like it's the things that are really tough around hairdressing that I like talking about a lot. Really, these ones, and I think about it like this: there'll always be difficult clients, Maddie. There just will be, and there will always be clients who tell you their problems. But I think that what we can control as hairdressers and beauty people is how we are handling this, how we are dealing with that. We can't, people are difficult. It just is what it is. And people will be going through a bad time or just be moaning at you. That's just, it's part of the culture of hairdressing, sadly, at the moment. But what I do notice is this: throughout my career, I got less and less difficult clients. Like in my early days, I had loads. But in my last few years, I had very few, because there was a lot of hoops they had to go through to get to have an appointment. And so they dropped off, and I got better at handling them and nipping it in the bud, noticing it earlier. I think that comes with experience, but I would love to have known the stuff I knew at the beginning. Like, wouldn't that have been nice?
Absolutely.
And so, I just think it's really about how you handle difficult clients and difficult conversations. You're probably never going to be able to stop people being difficult. You can stop getting them in your chair.
Yeah, definitely. And if you do, or a current client becomes difficult, like you say, there's a lot more in your control to navigate your way through or out of that, definitely.
Yeah. So should we do our final thoughts, Maddie?
Yes, let's do the final thoughts.
Let's sum this up.
Yes, so
what do you think about all of this?
About our recap and what we've been talking about today. So I did have a program called Breakthrough, and this is that's you very kindly came and coached in there, and this is what I talk about a lot when I was explaining that, is that there's 2 distinctive but also really intertwined things that I would call the doing and the being. So you can't you can do things, but there's also a way that you have to be as you are doing those things. And that's different at different phases of business, as you're growing, as you're descaling, as you are opening a salon or going and working on your own, if there's change in your personal life, business, whatever. There will always be the steps, the tips, the strategy, the templates, the checklists. And there is like, who am I as I am going through all of these things, and what's in my control? What is my mindset? What are my beliefs? And I just don't think you can separate them. But I think if you learn to harness both, they can both play off each other in a really, really positive way.
Yeah.
So in essence, come and hang out somewhere with me and Hayley.
It's a bit like, it's that thing again, isn't it, of they're both good, but separately you won't get great results.
Won't work. You
of like, you need good strategy, but you also need to get the emotional side and the mindset stuff sorted, or it will hold you back. I like it. I like it.
What are yours?
Well, what I think is, what I notice a lot when I'm coaching people is when they turn up at my door, and let's say, they're burnt out, their policies are not great, their prices are not great, all that sort of stuff. It's not that they don't know what to do. They understand but it's more that they're not doing it. And they're confused as to why they're not doing it, because they've listened to all the podcasts, they've done all the courses, they've listened to everything. And again, I think it's that emotional side that they've not attended to, that people come to me and talk about a lot. It's like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not doing it. I'm frozen. I'm stuck. And I've been like this for a few years now, knowing what I need to do. And it's like more and more education is not getting them there. And so it's they understand the doing, but they can't do it because they've not figured out the being.
Yeah, exactly that. No, it's so important. And it's, no, it's a thing that I've focused on loads now in my own personal development and with my own coach and my own therapist. And it just has to be both. Like it just works so much better when it's both. Because like you say, you're just going to butt heads. You're either going to run up against, well, now I know everything, like I've got the theory and I know what the steps are, but why am I not doing it? Or you're going to have this like almost toxic positivity, like you said, of dream, believe, achieve. Well, but you don't know what the steps are. Like you have a great mindset,
but then £1 million check, it's in my purse. Why is it not
everything
happening?
Will fall into place. Exactly this.
And so it is a really good combo of both. That's the bottom line. That's what we keep driving home, isn't it, today, Maddie? It's a really good combo of both.
Yes.
Should we do a hyper focus?
Yes. So this will have been recorded a little bit before it comes out, but I think it's still very, very pertinent to modern times. Are you watching Severance?
Oh, Maddie.
Are you?
I've watched the first. Watching it? Yeah, I've seen the first series. I've not watched the second one yet. It's on, but I haven't watched it. So, are you on the second series?
Top tip, rewatch the whole first series. I'd forgotten. It was like 3 years wait.
No, I only watched the first one recently.
Okay, then you'll be fine. I'm very jealous of anyone watching it from the start now. But
I mean, what finale? Season 1 finale. Ooh.
Honest, season 2, I watched one of the episodes. I was waiting for a flight and I was like, oh, it's out now and that'll kill like 40 minutes. And I was like audibly gasping. I was like, in the middle of the airport. It is so good. It gives me, actually, it nearly shot me because I was like, it reminds me of Lost. He was like, it's much better than Lost, which it is. But because in Lost, it just started to go really haywire and there was just crazy stuff for the sake of crazy stuff. But in this, everything's so intentional. I'm like down the rabbit hole. I've subscribed to loads of, even listen to a podcast and then we like talk about what was on the podcast, and I'm watching all these reels and these theories, and it gives us the vibe of when Lost was on live, and right at the end when it was like next time on Lost, I couldn't even cope with my life because I was like, I just need to watch the next episode of this. But it's like
the colour scheme of Severance. Do you know, just like the aesthetics of it?
The aesthetics amazing.
It's very good. Ben Stiller is the director, isn't he? Do you know that?
He is the director, and honest, it's bananas, and you're just watching it, just being like, what the hell is going on? And I feel like I could watch every episode 100 times and be like, I've just worked something out, or I've just noticed this tiny little thing. Very layered.
This is the kick up the bum I need actually to start the second series.
Go on.
I'm just
Go ahead,
in the market
for a
talk
new
about program. Actually.
Okay. Well, it's good timing because now there's not that many left before it ends, so you'll be on good stead to just catch the last few. One a week.
Oh, I can't.
There's currently there's like a couple left, so maybe in a week start,
because I can't binge Severance. It's not. I
psychological.
It's a bit heavy to watch like 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So
do like one a day. Do like maths.
I can do one a day, but I can't do like 3 a night.
But I'm just obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed. And Aiden's buzzing because he was obsessed in series 1, and I wasn't. I was like a bit of a late adopter, and now we just literally talk about it all day. It's like big topic in this household.
I'll join in that then.
Yes, please do. I need some theories.
I'll start this evening.
What's yours?
Mine's bonkers. I've got a new podcast that I like listening to. It's only 15 minutes long, and I discovered these girls on Instagram through Reels, and I thought these are funny. I couldn't figure out if they were real or not at first. It's satire, Maddie. You know, when you're like, is this real or not? Anyway, it's called Binks and Hebrides Wine Time Podcast. Wine Time spelled WHINE, Wine Time.
Nice.
And it's these two girls giving advice to other girls. But when I first listened to it, I just thought, what is happening here? It's a bit like Made in Chelsea does advice.
I was going to say Binks. The name Binks is giving very Chelsea, very posh
it's
girl.
Exactly that. And so basically it's these two, I don't know, actresses, comedians, two women who are taking the mickey out of a couple of rich Chelsea girls giving life advice. And it is so funny. I can't even cope with it. It's just hilarious. And I like a little 15-minute pick you up. But even when you just see their reels on Instagram, they're so brilliant. And so, listen. Yeah, Binks and Hebrides. If you Google that or put it into Instagram or Apple Podcasts or whatever, you'll find them and they're great. I'll send you some reels, Maddie.
Please
so you
do.
Have a little look, say.
And that,
so yeah, that's my hyperfocus big time.
I love it. And that leads us very, very nicely on to what I'm about to say, because some of you will be in the market for a new podcast for the time being, because
for a little while.
Cue James Blunt, goodbye, my lover, goodbye, my friend.
Get Lily to put that in.
Yeah, can we have some sort of remix of that on a reel, please? This is going to be the last episode for a while, for an undisclosed, unconfirmed period of time, because
we don't know how long.
We don't know how long. But can I just congratulate us both, because seeing through technically 8 seasons, maybe 18 months, 60 odd episodes, puts us in like the top couple of % of podcast creators, because a lot of people bail out.
Consistent ADHDers.
I know. So big self pat on the head for us. But generally, life is lifing. Business is a business thing. There is behind the scenes very, very big periods of change, things going on, and we don't like to half-arse things. I like to full-arse things, and in order to do that, we need a little bit of time, a little bit of a break.
We need a little bit of space and time.
Yes, so please go and listen to any old episodes that you missed, or re-listen to things. We'll put in the show notes where you can find both of us. We are still very much about, and there's various ways to, continue to work with us, or whatever that looks like. And recommend us to people if you know who needs to listen to a certain episode. We love the community of our recently named coffee beans.
And make sure you follow us so that we pop up when we come back.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, make sure that you've got us, whatever it is, followed, subscribed. I don't know what the lingo is for that, but yes, and then you'll get a lovely little notification one day to be like, boom, we're back, baby. When the time comes. So
until then, Maddie, I'll see you when I see you.
It's a ciao for now, Jepson.
Ciao for now. Aloha.
All right, pal. I'll see you then.
See you later.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments.
Please support those who support us, and check out Timely, who we recommend is our favourite booking system for you. New customers can get 50% off their first 3 months with the code COFFEE50.